Well, the weekend has begun, but we do not end things here. As you probably know right about now, we're going to be reviewing Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor. As you know, Ring of Honor will have their latest pay per view at the 2300 Arena, of course, which, if you guys are familiarized with that venue, that used to be the home, of course, of ECW. And now AEW and Ring of Honor will be making some residency there for the next couple of weeks, and I'm excited that they're having their pay-per-view show over there for Death Before Dishonor. So we're gonna have, of course, we're gonna go through the 0 hour matches. We even have, of course, special matches and title matches. So we'll see how things will progress from there. And then as we speak, we move on with AEW Collision. A lot of things have taken place. As you know, the Don Callis family are making headways as we speak. Now they're trying to prove they are the dominant faction. So we'll see how things will progress. Now in the women's division, of course, we have, of course, members of the Triangle of Madness teaming up with Billy Starks to take on Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and our current AEW Women's World Champion, Toni Storm. So a lot of things is going to go crazy throughout this whole thing. So we're going to go from A to Z on the entirety of Collision. And then after that, of course, we wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling from various promotions, not only here in the United States, also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jappers. Let this call meeting into order. So, let's begin with Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. Okay, Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, making their appearance at the 2300 Arena, of course, home of ECW. Now, let's start with matches from the 0 hour, of course, which is the pre-show before the bigger event, the bigger matches. Our first match, we have Jordan Oliver taking on, of course, the franchise of Ring of Honor, Jay Lethal, who, as we all know, is a multi-time title holder, except for the six-man world six world championship, of course. But of course, nothing too special about this match. But it's really fun to see Jay Lethal again, who's been well recognized in Ring of Honor. but he was able to pick up the win when he applied a figure four leg lock. Of course, for those who know, Jay Lethal is a big fan of Ric Flair, and that always works out fine for him. Now, before their six-man tag team match, of course, um, the Von Erichs and Sammy were interviewed by Lex Lanier to talk about, of course, the real question: who's going to be his tag partner in the tag team match against the Outrunners? Well, he said he's trying to narrow this down, so we'll see how that plays out. Now, our next match is a three-way tag team match. First, we have MXM Collection, Mansoor and Mason Madden versus the Frat House, Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, or as people know him as Who the F is Griff Garrison. And then finally, the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds, and of course, John Silver. Now, of course, there'll be interference from the seconds, most specifically, of course, Johnny TV and Tail Valkyrie on the side of MXM Collection, the other members of the Frat House and the Pledges, and not to mention Evil Uno. But the way things went down on that, of course, it was Johnny TV that applied some sort of a perfume that is, from what Cole Caprice was saying, that it's very stench, like it smells nasty, and he used that on Reynolds when, of course, Mansoor was pinned by Reynolds, and just like that, Mansoor dodged it, kind of countered it, and just like that, it was over. Just 1, 2, 3. MXM Collection picked up the win. Now, we did see another interview with Lexi talking to Jay Lethal, who, as you know, he is no stranger to 2300 Arena, but he was interrupted by, of course, the Swirl, consistent of Lee Johnson and Blake Christian, who are, of course, making a headways that they will be facing members of course, the well-recognized in Ring of Honor. If you guys don't know who I'm referring to, we're talking about the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Now, our next match is a Pure Rules match. Ashley Voss versus Billy Starks. Now, we know Billy Starks is involved in the upcoming Pure Rules tournament to crown the next ROH Women's Pure Champion. So that is something we've been seeing. Now, this has nothing to do with that tournament, but however, this is one of those matches where it kind of showcases that. Now, you probably would think that maybe someone did not have experience on this one, but it was Billy Starks with the Starks drop that kind of sealed the deal for her to pick up the win, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match is a four-way for a $50,000, featuring, of course, Dralistico versus Adam Priest versus Angelico versus AR Fox. Now, of course, this is going to be a very tricky one because no one knows how things with this end. But in the end, it was Dralistico with a somewhat of a code breaker on top of the turnbuckle to AR Fox, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he won. So there's a lot of things that will take place regarding that. Yeah, sorry, my water just fell out. So anyway, let's jump into the main card of the entire event. The first we have is the Premier Athletes, or should we say Athlete Sucks. Tony Nese and Arya Daivari taking on the conglomeration consistent of Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii. Now, of course, we know at certain points, whenever the Premier Athletes have their match, that Weasel, Smart Mark Sterling, or should I call him Dumbass Mark Sterling, gets involved. But, of course, he got taken out by accident until, of course, Tomohiro Ishii applied a Brain Buster onto Nese, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our first match is whoever walks out as the winners of the ROH World Six-Man Tag Team match. We have, of course, the Sons of Texas, consistent of the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall Von Erich. They team up with Sammy Guevara. They take on Shane Taylor's Promotions, the Infantry, the Captain Sean Dean, and Carly Bravo, and of course the fearless leader, Shane Taylor's Promotions. Now, of course, if you guys notice, during the entire match, people were booing Sammy. So this is a very interesting turn of events. But of course, this match ended with the Infantry applying a stomp onto Sammy, and just like that, I think it was Carly who picked up the win by pinning him. 1, 2, 3. Brand new ROH World Six-Man Tag Team Champions. So we'll see how things will grow there. Now, our next match, we have the Kingdom. Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, people who recognize them from their years being part of Ring of Honor. They take on the Swirl, consisting of Lee Johnson and Blake Christian, of course. And of course, we did see Jay Lethal watching this from the back, which was obviously he's watching this to see how things will progress. Now, we did see some interesting maneuvers, like a great tag teaming with Mike Bennett and, of course, Matt Taven. But however, this match took a turn when that idiot Blake Christian decided to low blow Taven, and then of course they take out with the combination of a Death Valley bomb and something else that Blake Christian applied, and then just like that, Blake Christian picked up the win. 1, 2, 3. It was over. So it's a very interesting how this match ended, even though we know Christian and Lee Johnson are trying to cut corners to ensure they get what they want. Now, our next match is the ROH Women's Pure Title Tournament quarterfinals. Taya Valkyrie and Queen Aminata. Now, we have seen Queen Aminata evolve into, of course, the Pure Rules style. That is something I have been very observant with her when she made her debut in both Ring of Honor and Ring of Honor. I mean, Ring of Honor and AEW. So that is something that's been very, very clear from there. But it took a headbutt for Queen Aminata to take out Taya Valkyrie, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. However, during the post-match, Queen Aminata had a surprise visit from, of course, one of the best technical wrestlers in the game, in the women's locker room, Deonna Purrazzo. Now, of course, many people are putting their bets on Deonna, and me, I'm kind of 50-50 on that, but we'll see how that progresses. Now, our next match is for the ROH Pures Championship. We have Shwaya, who in fact survived the Proving Ground match, faces against Lee Moriarty. Now, in the stands, Shwaya's father, Swat, who is a local wrestler from their town in Puebla, was there in attendance. I have to say the match was pretty good. I mean, Shwaya is one of those wrestlers I felt like he is good for the Pure Wrestling title. I mean, I would love to see him more participate. I mean, if there's a tournament for that, I would love to see him do. But man, everybody, Shwaya actually wiped out all of his rope breaks, putting him in a disadvantage against Moriarty. But when, of course, Moriarty tried to put him in a submission, Shwaya was not realizing that he already exceeded his rope breaks, that it was all fair game, despite that he was near the ropes, and that allowed for Lee Moriarty to pick up the win with the Border City stretch on the ropes, and just like that, he tapped out, and just like that, retained the championship. Now, our next match is a fight without honor. Now, there is no honor in this match. This is between QT Marshall and Paul Walter Hauser, or as you know him in karate and Cobra Kai, Stingray. As you know, QT Marshall feels that Paul Walter Hauser is just a sting as an actor. He's not a pro wrestler, but Paul Walter Hauser has stepped up the game. You've seen him wrestle in both MLW and Wrestling Revolver, and he was doing this in Ring of Honor. He took everything. There was a lot of plunder. I mean, tables, ladders, chairs, thumbtacks, whatever they can get out. But however, of course, Aaron Solo was going to get involved. But somebody sent Hook, took that creep out, and dragged his ass out. So he deserved it. But in the end, it was QT Dumbass who picked up the win by applying a cutter through a table that had glass, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So Stingray lost, which was really disappointing, but yeah. Now, our next match, we have the ROH World Tag Team titles that have been vacant. We have the Outrunners, Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum, taking on Sammy Guevara and a partner of his choosing. Now, this is where things got interesting. We weren't too sure who was going to be his tag partner, and surprise, it was El Toro Blanco Rush. We had no idea. We don't know what the Von Erichs thought. But of course, we know Rush is a violent individual. He'll do whatever it takes. But it was Sammy who picked up the win by applying a swanton onto Turbo, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, the Von Erichs wanted to confront Sammy until they were beaten down by, of course, Dralistico, Rush, and Sammy. Now, the general consistency is, it's possibility now Sammy is a member of LI5, La Facción Ingobernable. So, of course, the Outrunners were basically disappointed. And then those idiots, Shane Taylor Promotions, ever since winning the World Six-Man Tag Team belts, they've been gloating at the Outrunners, calling them losers. But sooner or later, we know that the Outrunners will pick up their tag team belts. It could be in Ring of Honor, it could be in AEW, for all we care. But we'll just have to pay attention and to see that. Now, our next match is, of course, the ROH World Championship, Hechiseto versus Bandito. And, of course, that Snake of the Grass was there as well, too. He claims that it's all journalistic. Bullshit. Nope. You want Don is there just to ensure that the Hechiseto won, but nothing worked. But, man, Bandito took every ounce that he had to, of course, take out Hechiseto. Hechiseto did the same thing. But in the end, it was a German suplex by Bandito that put away Hechiseto. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Now, we have our main event, the ROH Women's World Championship. Mina Shirakawa, who is our current interim ROH Women's World Television Champion, take on the champion herself, Athena. Now, of course, the obvious thing, Mina Shirakawa hasn't forgotten when her hand was broken in the hands of Athena at that Casino Gauntlet in All In. And now Athena is not going to let someone like Mina try to take her out. I mean, these girls went out with a bang. And not to mention, Athena tried to use, of course, to damage her hand even further. And of course, Billy Starks was there to ensure that Athena won. But of course, things didn't go according to plan for Billy Starks to help Athena. But in the end, of course, it was Athena with the O face. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So basically, she retained the championship. But the real question is, here's the thing, what happened. Now that she's close to the 1,000 mark, who's going to be the ones to dethrone her? I think many people may be getting sick and tired of seeing her as a champion. I mean, it would have been better off to see her lose the belt, but it is what it is. So we'll see how things will go in ROH. But as of right now, we are officially done with Ring of Honor. Let's move on with our last and final review, AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision, as you all know, they made their 2300 arena residency for the next couple of weeks. So we opened up with singles action, Daniel Garcia versus Blake Christian. Now, before the match even began, all of a sudden we see Jon Moxley. We had no idea what was going on. So it was rather strange to see that. Even Nigel McGuinness was wondering about that too, since he and Garcia, Garcia was his cornerman at Forbidden Door, and not to mention tag partner against FTR. But however, this match ended with, of course, with a spike pile driver by Daniel Garcia, and then he called out Moxley. But as for that, of course, Wheeler Yuta tells him that he has to go through one of them. But of course, I think this is a matter of, a little payback. As you all know, Wheeler Yuta was the pure wrestling champion, losing to Daniel Garcia. So this is like his way of, hey, I'm going to get even with you. That sort of thing. Now, some people are speculating in certain aspects that maybe Daniel Garcia may join the Death Riders. Well, we don't know for sure, but we'll see. Now, we did see an interview with the conglomeration, Hologram, Tomohiro Ishii, along with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Now, of course, Roderick Strong is a bit miffed, of course, you can say, because of Kyle O'Reilly's affiliation with the conglomeration. And they will be facing against, of course, the Don Callis family. More specifically, Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher. So, O'Reilly and Ishii teamed up to take them on. Now, of course, we know that Snake of the Grass, Don Callis, was there to get to watch, and then at one moment he'll interfere. But when things got a little out of hand, Josh Alexander decided to kick a low blow into Ishii, and then C4 spike, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. So the general consistency now, it seems that Don Callis and the family are making their ways to prove they are the dominant faction that run AEW, but they are not fully in control yet. Now, in the back, we did see Jamie Hayter attacking Tekla. Now, Jamie Hayter, as you all know, hasn't forgotten what Tekla did to her when, of course, this happened. Well, let's just say she tries to get even with her, but however, Jamie Hayter was taken out of the building. I don't know if that's something that's going to be helpful, but we'll see. Now, Shayna, Wayne, and Kip are talking about what transpired at Forbidden Door due to the fact that Killswitch screwed things up. But of course, Kip was taking this whole thing out of it proportion, saying, "It's your fault, dude. We lost the match." But Shayna tried to say, "Hey, look, go take a walk, okay? I'm not having it here." So that's exactly what happened. But I don't know what's really going to happen with the patriarchy in this matter. Now, our next match, we have Jay Lethal versus Hologram. I thought the match was pretty good. It was really fun. Excuse me. But anyway, the match was very, very impressive in my opinion. I think I enjoyed it. But of course, Hologram was able to pick up the win with the portal bomb, and just like that, it was over. But however, during the post match, something interesting has happened. Like one of those systems that kind of like was going out and saying that clone activated. And from what people are saying, this looked more like an evil version of Hologram in red. And of course, we don't know what's happening. I mean, we're seeing something similar like we did with Sin Cara. So if you guys remember, there was the Sin Cara blue, Sin Cara black, which the blue was the baby face and the black was of course the heel. I'm not sure if we're in fact having that type of scenario. If you guys agree with me, do you think AEW are playing that type, they're going in that direction? Because I feel like they never shut down that story whatsoever. They just continue on. Now, our next match, we have Alex Windsor versus Ashley Voss. Well, this match ended with, of course, Alex Windsor picked up the win by applying the sharpshooter. However, Tony Schiavone had a post-match comment with her in the ring. And of course, he asked her the question. I'm sure she didn't want to upset him about, of course, that Mercedes Moné said some things remarking about her husband, Will Ospreay. Well, Alex Windsor feels like, hey, you crossed the line, bitch. I'm coming for you no matter what. Later, it was announced that Alex Windsor will be challenging for the TBS title this coming Wednesday. Now, we don't know for sure if they're going to drop the title off her, but we'll see how things will go. I mean, we'd probably love to see someone else take a chance. I mean, we know Tony Khan has given high praises to Alex Windsor, but we'll see what happens from there. Now, we did see Don Callis having a nice conversation with Lexi Neer until Mark Briscoe saying, hey, look, I issued a challenge for Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title. But Don Callis, the one thing right now in his mind is to regain what he felt was taken from him, and that is, of course, the AEW World title. So he told Mark Briscoe, I'll send one of my guys and we'll talk about it at another time, because right now, in what Don Callis' mind, he needs to regain that belt that he felt it doesn't belong to Hangman, but we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have FTR versus Adrian Priest and JD Drake. Well, thank God Stokely Hathaway was not present. I mean, the dude was annoying, or as you know, the guy said that he's short, he's bald, and he gets no hose. But yeah, of course. But in the end, of course, it was FTR that picked up the win when Dax Harwood applied the Border City stretch on on Adam Priest, and just like that, it's over. But however, during the post-match comments, as you know, right now they're in war against Copeland and Christian Cage at Toronto for the All Out, which of course was something that was predicted not too long ago. Now, we did see an interview with the Don Callis family about, of course, this coming Wednesday. As you know, they are in full battle in hopes to regain the AEW World title for Don Callis. So basically, there's going to be an ultimate 8-man tag team match next week. So that's going to be something we're definitely going to be seeing. Our next match, we have Big Bill versus Juice Robinson. As you know, These two guys, Bill and Brian Keith, have been at war with Juice Robinson and Ace Austin. No, Austin Gunn. But of course, this match ended with Brian Keith getting involved and then getting knocked out until Black Hole Slam by Big Bill onto Juice Robinson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, the Skyfly team, as you know, they're making headway, saying that the era of the altitude has taken place. But Darius feels, that they're not doing anything more enough, because apparently he paid attention enough that the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team titles are now in the possession of STP. As you know, they've been calling them out. And of course, Layla Gray did it again. Well, she cursed. So that's kind of interesting. Now, we did see a bit of a video promo from Gabe Kidd talking about Darby Allin, saying that he's going to take him out no matter what. So this coming Wednesday, we'll see what happens. Now, our main event, we have Toni Storm, Amina Shirakawa, and Quinn Aminata taking on Billy Starks and the members of Triangle of Madness, consistent of Sky Blue and Julia Hart. So it's interesting of a combination between both Starks and the Triangle of Madness. But in the end, of course, Mina Shirakawa picked up the win by applying, of course, the glamorous Mina onto Billy Starks, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, the Triangle Madness Tekla showed up out of nowhere, and her partners took out Mina Shirakawa, Toni Storm, and Queen Aminata. But remember, Tekla has a long history towards Mina back in Stardom, so it seems now Tekla probably will definitely reignite that feud that came all the way from Japan. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, we're officially done with AEW Collision. Let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with some upcoming events. MLW, Major League Wrestling, will have their upcoming event, Fightland. They'll take place on the 13th. Now, 2 updates have been announced. Defuto has been announced that he'll be participating in the event. However, we will continue with more of the Upper Cup tournament of the opening round. They announced Sondakan Jr. will take on Blue Panther Jr., so that's going to be a very interesting match to watch. Now, as you know, Tokyo Pro Wrestling will be heading to Wrestle Princess 6 on the 20th of September. It was announced that Aja Kong will take on Iwamari. So, good luck, Iwamari. And then finally, RevPro has announced for the 2025 Trios Grand Prix that will take place between September 20th to the 21st in Barcelona, Spain. The next team that was announced to participate are the Flying Bryant brothers, Leonard, Nino, and Xander Bryant. So that's pretty much it, what's going on in our upcoming events. And now we only have one development that we're going to be talking about. And I think this one, some of you are going to say F. Biscoff. Eric Biscoff went on to say that Dixie Carter was a much better wrestling booker than Tony Khan. Now, I wouldn't say Dixie Carter was better than Tony Khan. I mean, look, we know we've been hearing stories specifically from certain people about how Dixie Carter was running things. Jeff Jarrett specifically said himself that he felt that Dixie Carter had no idea what the F she was doing. And I have to say I would agree. And don't forget, she made dumb decisions, like, of course, having Bischoff and Hogan involved, and the same thing with Vince Russo, which, of course, everybody knows that Vince Russo has been the man responsible for the downfall of WCW. And of course, but some of you may question, why would Bischoff go out of his way to say something like this? I think the problem is he's bitter because he didn't get a job with AEW. You got to remember, Bischoff Tony Khan is fully aware of people he probably does not want in his company due to certain circumstances. Like, for example, Vince Russo is one of those people, like, you can say, we don't want him because he's responsible for what happened, of course, with WCW. But we'll see how things will progress. But as of right now, we'll pay attention. We'll see what what else, if Tony Khan will make any comments about this or not, but stay tuned for it. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. Now, part of me would like to think I want to do the events from the UK shows, like, of course, the RevPro shows for the anniversary show and Global Wars UK, and of course, the Pro Wrestling Eve event that took place. So, that is something I am considering doing. I want to do some British wrestling style review that I feel I have been eluding for a while. And I know I'm behind on the Yosh wrestling stuff, such as Mighty Gold, Tokyo Pro Wrestling, but we'll see how things will progress from there. So we'll see how things are for the following day and for the following episode. But as of right now, we'll end things here. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.